welcome back to my channel. If you didn't watch my first video, my name is Evelyn Meredith and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to my first coffee chat, guys. I'm gonna be honest, I really did not want to film this video. Literally just before I sat down to do it, I was pretty discouraged. I opened Instagram for 1 minute and saw a story about another photographer and kind of just sent me into negative thought pattern. And I'm trying to break free from that, and I know that's Satan's attacks on my mind. He frequently feeds me lies that I'm unworthy, that I can't do what I actually feel passionate about doing and feel like God's calling me to do, and I'm not good enough, that I'm crazy. So this video and me doing this anyway, in despite of that, is a protest. I'm protesting. So this is just proof that if you are doing what God is calling you to do, that you will be spiritually attacked. Anyway, I am going to talk about why I did not pursue a nursing career after going to nursing school, and why I'm choosing to grow my photography business and pursue photography as a career instead of nursing. This was not a decision that I took lightly, and by no means made quickly. I've been processing and thinking about this for a very, very long time. And I finally feel like I am stepping out of my fear and deciding to go where God's telling me to go. So I guess I should start by talking about why I decided to choose nursing in the first place. So a few kind of background factors from when I was growing up was, I guess I'll start at the very beginning. My aunt was a labor and delivery nurse, and she actually delivered me. And so that's always been a cool part of my story about how my aunt got to deliver me. And also my mom went to nursing school before any of us were around, and she actually never got to finish because she married my dad and they moved for my dad's first pastoral job, which put her at a disadvantage because she now had to kind of start over some of her nursing courses since some of her credits wouldn't transfer to the school she wanted to go in their new place that they lived. I believe it was Wisconsin. So that's kind of like the two nurses that have been in my life. And I graduated high school in 2020. And that year I obviously was thinking about what I wanted to do in college. And I also took an anatomy course. And anatomy, that's such a tongue twister. I took an anatomy course in high school and I really enjoyed it. I loved learning about the body and all of the physiological processes that our bodies do to help heal us and to, that they just go through to fight infection and things like that. So I really enjoyed that, and I had an opportunity to play college soccer at a small NAIA school in Indiana. And one of my best friends from high school who I played soccer with also accepted the offer to play at that same school. And she was going into nursing. The more I kind of thought about it, I was like, yeah, like I really enjoyed my anatomy class. I love taking care of people. Like I have an interest in the body and its systems and things like that. Like, why don't I do nursing too? And on top of that, I thought I wanted to be a labor and delivery nurse like my aunt, because growing up, I got to see my mom go through a lot of pregnancies, being the third oldest of 14 kids. So I took care of my little siblings. I just loved hearing about the labor stories and learning about how my mom's body changed during pregnancy. And so I thought, yeah, it makes sense. I'll go to nursing school and then I'll become a labor and delivery nurse. And that was kind of my goal from the very beginning. Also, I just really wanted to kind of finish what my mom started. I wanted to make my parents proud. And I was a very high achiever. And so I wanted the challenge of playing soccer and doing nursing school and also being involved in my campus. And so it just seemed like a good fit, something challenging and something meaningful. So that's kind of why I decided to choose nursing in the first place. And now you're probably asking me, okay, those are all, a lot has changed, because throughout nursing school, I kind of always felt like an imposter. In my clinicals, I would count down the minutes, hours to when I could leave. I didn't really enjoy being in clinicals, and even more than that, I don't think really any of us enjoyed our clinicals in nursing school, because you follow a nurse around and it's uncomfortable and you're just learning all these things for the first time. But I do think that there were moments of excitement for my friends in my nursing cohort where they got to do something cool, or did something on their own, and they were super proud of themselves and like super excited. And I just never felt like I had those moments. Even outside of clinicals, they would talk about how they are so excited to be nurses, about their jobs in the hospitals, and things like that. And I was not working in the hospital at that time, and it just felt like they were a lot more passionate about it. They were a lot more driven towards this goal of becoming a nurse, and I just didn't feel super motivated and excited about it. But I thought it was just because I was in school. School's not super fun, and it'll get better when I'm the nurse and I don't have to follow a nurse around. I get to make the decisions, and I get to care for my own patients and do it the way that I desire to do it, within obviously the bounds of the protocols and procedures, of course. But that was kind of my first clue. I kind of just pushed through that and just blamed it on not enjoying school that much. But then my junior year rolled around, and I kind of started having a lot more doubts. I think that was the year that my mom got sick, and she went through a whole almost year and a half just journey, more like a wild goose chase, talking to a bunch of different doctors, getting a bunch of different tests, and getting no answers for the symptoms she was having. And it just was a really scary time, and that whole experience kind of left a bad taste in my mouth for the whole healthcare system. Don't get me wrong, I know that there are good doctors and good nurses and people that always try to do the right thing and are extremely moral in everything that they do, but I do think that there is inherent corruption within the healthcare system that a lot of the times you can't avoid. And I think that Western medicine prescribes medications in a way that just kind of covers up real problem instead of healing the root cause and not even needing to be on a medication daily. I do think that there's a time and place for Western medicine, and I think it's best utilized in critical care. But within the context of my mom's situation and within the context of a lot of people's health battles, I think that holistic and functional medicine is a better route to healing these people than Western medicine provides with medications and procedures and these things. So there's pros and cons to both, and times and places to use both. But I honestly, through that experience, my eyes were opened up to the fact that I was even more interested in holistic and functional medicine than I was in the things that I was learning in nursing school. I just didn't even know it at that time. But again, junior year, I was like, okay, I only have 1 year left. I need a bachelor's degree. Like, I'm gonna get a bachelor's degree no matter what. So, and I don't want to start over. So I'm just gonna push through and trust that I'll feel better about it after I graduate. So senior year rolls around, and I'll just fast forward to the spring right before I graduated. I started applying for labor and delivery positions after being engaged to my now husband, who is living in Kentucky. So I was applying for positions in Kentucky. And at the time, I had also said yes to going on a month-long mission trip to Croatia in the month of June. So for the entire month of June, I was going to be gone out of the US. And with my interview, it was for a labor and delivery position here in Kentucky. And at the end of the interview, I had to be honest, and I was letting them know that I wouldn't be able to start until I got back from my mission trip in July. And basically, I think that was probably the deciding factor of, okay, well, I need somebody to start right away, and they could not accept me for that position. And whether that was because of my interview or because of that trip, I don't know. But either way, it was a no for that position. So I just trusted that another position would become available after I got back from Croatia. So I finished school, I graduated in May, and then I took my boards about 2 weeks later, only a week before my trip, and I passed my boards on the first time. I found out I was a nurse in my pajamas in my kitchen the next day. And only my dad was really there to celebrate that moment with me, but somehow it didn't even feel that significant or special to me. And I think that was just because I was just unsure as to if this was even something I really wanted or not. But again, I just trusted that, okay, I'm just gonna apply for more positions after I get back from my mission trip. So I go on this mission trip, and during the mission trip, I get paired up with a staff leader in Croatia who lives there and is married to a Croatian man, and she discipled me for that entire month. And during our time of discipleship, I really got to process through and think through things that I really had never allowed myself to before. One of those things was my career. And actually, she got a degree in something that she's not utilizing right now, as she's working in full-time ministry in Croatia with her husband. So that kind of gave me permission to think about what it would look like to not utilize my degree that I got in college. And ultimately, I didn't really make any decision or come to any revelation through prayer and journaling during that trip, but it really opened my mind up to other possibilities because I did have so many other passions, and I honestly was figuring out whether photography was something that I wanted to pursue more. Anyway, so I got back from my trip and moved to Kentucky. I lived with our friends for 2.5 months and planned basically our entire wedding because I really didn't do much before I left for Croatia. So I planned our wedding, and we got married in October. So it's been around 6 months now. In like a week, it'll be 6 months. But those 2.5 months were really just me resting and planning a wedding. It was super busy time. Also, I just kind of allowed myself time to just process the mission trip and process all the things that I was feeling about nursing and stuff like that. But after I got back from our honeymoon, I was like, okay, it's pedal to the metal. I need to start thinking about nursing and start applying for jobs and things like that, because at this point I was like 4.5 months out from getting my license. I started thinking about where I wanted to apply. At the time, there were no labor and delivery positions open at the hospital that I had originally applied to, and that's really where everybody told me that I should work. And so I kind of took that as a sign to just wait until a position would become available. There was a position available in October, and it was a night shift position. I had gotten a night shift capstone in nursing school, and it was extremely hard on my body, and I only had to work 10 shifts, but it was just a very hard 2 months where I was completing those clinicals and trying to have a normal college life and study for all the finals and things in the last semester of nursing school. And honestly, thinking about taking a position in labor and delivery on night shift was extremely scary for me. It brought me a lot of anxiety, especially as a newly married woman who basically spent her entire relationship with her husband before they got married, separated. It was hard for me to say yes to not being able to be on the same schedule as my new husband. I worried that I would never see him, that we would never get to just be able to sleep together and wake up at the same time. So I just decided not to apply for that position. And looking back, I'm not sure if that was the right thing or not to do, but there's a lot of things within my story where I look back and think, man, maybe I should have done something differently. But I also know that God is sovereign and that He knew. He knew what I would be feeling, He knew what I would choose. And ultimately, it's led me here. And so I'm just going to trust that that was the Lord's sovereignty over my life. Because after that, I started to kind of create boundaries for myself. If I was going to do nursing, I wanted to do something that was not night shift. I didn't want to work in med-surg. I had worked in med-surg as a patient care technician in college, and I really didn't like it. I was very overwhelmed and very stressed a lot of the time in that job and didn't feel like I could necessarily ask the nurses for help. I knew that my passion lied in women's health and in labor and delivery and women's health in general, and I didn't necessarily want to get a job in something that I would dread going to every day. I think that is a fair thing to put a boundary around. So I started looking into clinic positions. My husband works 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and so I was like, okay, it would be awesome if we could be on the same schedule. And a women's health clinic sounded like the perfect alternative, where I would be working within the realm of obstetrics, but not necessarily labor and delivery. So I started looking up clinics in around the area, and I didn't really find many positions for RNs. Most of the holistic and functional health clinics were looking for nurse practitioners or MDs, some sort of higher ranking than a nurse, like a regular nurse. And so it was pretty discouraging for me until my friend told me that there was a hormone clinic that she used to work for. And so this was now almost November. I got an interview. Now this was December. This took me a long time, this process. And this was December now, and I interviewed at this hormone clinic for a nurse position that they had available. And right after that interview, at the end of that week, I went home for my sister's wedding, and 5 days later was Christmas, and then we flew to California, where my husband is from. I spent a few days with his family out there and celebrated my birthday, his mom's birthday. And when we came home, I was scheduled to do a job shadow at that same hormone clinic. And so I went in for that shadow. I thought that it was going to be a good fit for me, that I was going to enjoy what I was doing, learning about the endocrine system and hormones and how they affect just our sleep, our mental cognition, our focus, our weight, and all the different things that, can kind of decrease our quality of life. It's probably a hormone imbalance of some sort. So I liked that. I liked finding the root cause and finding that hormone imbalance and helping to get people treatment for those hormone imbalances. So I thought it was going to be a really good fit for me. I had the opportunity to go with my husband to Texas for a week, and then we went to Missouri. And on the way to Missouri, I got the phone call from the owner of that clinic, and ultimately she said that it was a hard decision, but they had to go with a nurse with more experience. She did say that they were opening up a new location soon and that they would need a nurse to staff that location, and that they would let me know when I could kind of go through this educational process to kind of learn about the things that I would need to know about to be able to do the job before actually doing the job in the new clinic. So they said that they would contact me within a couple months because the new clinic would kind of be done in March. And so far, they have not contacted me. And my husband had a feeling that that was kind of going to be the case, and so he would really encourage me to start looking at other positions. So we kind of just started scouring the internet for really any job that I would be remotely interested in, and we applied for a lot, and ultimately I got declined from pretty much all of those jobs for one reason or the other. I'm still not sure, but again, I know the Lord is sovereign over this situation and know that that was probably part of His plan for me. But I got to the point where I kind of just had a mental breakdown, and I kind of realized that I was allowing a lot of fear to influence why I wasn't doing night shift and becoming a labor and delivery nurse like I had planned to do before. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna choose faith over fear, and I'm gonna just face my fears and apply for all the labor and delivery positions at any hospital that I can find within a reasonable radius to where we live in Kentucky. And ultimately, that whole process ended in more rejection and more discouragement. And I was really confused as to why nobody would give me even a chance to interview. And really, it's because labor and delivery is a specialty field within nursing, and they kind of want nurses to have at least 1 year of previous experience on a different unit, which is all fine. Like, I really do think that that is a good thing that they do, because it is kind of critical care. But I even applied for mother-baby positions and things that were in OB but weren't labor and delivery, and still was rejected. Again, looking back on it, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe that was because I just waited so long. But again, my heart not in nursing to begin with. And so honestly, these rejections did bring discouragement, because I thought I needed to do this, but like deep down I kind of had some form of relief that I got rejected, because ultimately I didn't really want to become a nurse. After talking with one of my friends who is now an ER nurse, she graduated the same month as I did, and she's working in an ER in Ohio. And after talking with her and kind of hearing about how she isn't exactly enjoying the job that she has right now, it kind of just confirmed in my mind that I just really didn't want that for myself. I didn't want to be miserable every day, and what I really wanted to do was be a photographer, and that's still what I want to do. What wakes me up in the morning is not being a nurse. What wakes me up in the morning is creating, and photography has just been a part of me for a long time. In high school, I started a photography business. I started photographing seniors, people in my own class, and also in my sister's class, who was just a year below me, and kind of had a lot of different opportunities to photograph people in our church and other families that I knew. And in college, since I didn't want to waste my intelligence and choose a career in something creative, I kind of put photography to the wayside and didn't really pursue a lot of it during school, which now I regret, because it's something that I really want to do and something that I felt like I probably could have gotten a lot of experience in college if I had prioritized it. And maybe I would have more content and more of a portfolio to pitch to people. Now, trying to pursue photography as a career. But nonetheless, I think that the Lord has just been teaching me a lot about myself. And through this whole entire experience, I've kind of learned that I was created to create. And honestly, nursing never fit into the picture of my life. When I envisioned my life, I thought nursing was going to be like maybe 1 or 2 years of it, because ultimately I want to be a mom. And when I become a mom, I want to be able to stay home with my kids. And I also want to have a passion project, a side hustle, where I can dedicate a lot of my creative energy and a lot of my personal passion to something that was not necessarily my family. Because my mom warned me against, not having really like an outlet for yourself and just being a stay-at-home mom. If you create your identity from being a mom, you kind of start to lose yourself a little bit. And I didn't want that for myself. I wanted to kind of be my own person in some way, but also be a really good present mom when I have kids. And photography just seemed like a natural option for all of that to come true. My husband also gets to travel for his work, and by being a photographer, I get to choose my own hours. I get to create my schedule, and I get to choose when I work and when I don't, and when I want to take time off. And It would honestly open me up to being able to travel with my husband. And so all of these things kind of just made me realize that, wow, nursing never really fit into what I want my life to be. So photography is something that I'm super passionate about, and that just lights an energy in my heart that nursing never really did. So now what? I'm trying to figure that out too, because I'm new to Kentucky, to this area, and it's honestly really hard to get photography clients when nobody knows who you are. And so now that I'm starting to go on this journey of growing my photography business and creating my dream job for myself, yeah, I've just kind of been marketing myself, asking people if I can photograph them for free, and just kind of understanding that I'm gonna have to take some losses in the next year to 2 years before I can actually see a lot of growth. But I've already seen how the Lord has been blessing me with so many opportunities. It's being plugged into our church. I've been able to get a lot of people to, want my photography services this spring and summer. And so I'm super excited for the weather to warm up so it can be pretty again outside, and I can start taking photos of people in my life, starting to use those photos as marketing for future clients. But even more blessing has been that I've been able to book 2 weddings, which ultimately wedding photography is what I want to get into. I was weary about it before because I just thought weddings were a big undertaking, that the galleries were just going to be way too big for me to, be able to turn around in time and things like that, just making up excuses for myself. But since being married, wedding photography has been something that I've been feeling like I should pursue. And as a outdoorsy person, as an adventurer, my ultimate goal is to be a destination and elopement photographer, where I get to go into mountains and beaches and all of these amazing destinations and photograph weddings. That is a lofty goal, yes, but I think I'm only 23, and there's a lot of potential for me within this career, and I'm just excited to pursue it further. Since photography has not been super lucrative for me right now, I am working part-time to kind of bring in some extra income while I'm still establishing myself, establishing my photography business. So that's where I'm at right now, and those are all the reasons why I've kind of been feeling like the Lord has been leading me away from nursing and towards photography. And I'm still trying to figure it out, to be honest, and I'm still learning about myself, and there's probably a million other things that I could say to kind of fill in the gaps with this whole story, things that the Lord has been teaching me. But ultimately, I think that the Lord has just been telling me to not limit myself and not limit Him, because my fear is the opposite of faith, and if I choose to be brave and step into where I feel like my passions and where God is leading me, then He's gonna bless that. And so I made this bracelet, and it says brave on it, and I wear it every day as a reminder to choose my faith and choose to trust God and choose dependence upon God, even when I don't understand, and even when I can't see, and even when it may seem like this is impossible, because at the beginning of this video, honestly, that lie was playing in my head. It seems impossible, but I guess me documenting this and me starting this channel is going to be proof that the Lord is faithful and that He keeps His promises, and that you just surrender your plans, and if you depend on the Lord, that He's going to. My camera conveniently died right when I was talking about the Lord's faithfulness. But you guys, if you have made it to the end of this video, this is probably a really long video. Thank you so much. This story is very vulnerable for me to share, but I also just want to inspire other people to listen to the Lord's calling and to choose faith instead of fear. And while my camera was dead and charging for a second, I just want to share this because it is literally the Lord's provision already. I saw that my photographer who shot my wedding needed a second shooter. And so I messaged her and told her that I really look up to her, and since she's taken our engagement photos and wedding photos, I've just been really inspired to pursue photography as a career like she has, and also just inspired to pursue wedding photography in particular. Like, guys, I actually need to show you her pictures of us. These are our engagement photos. I need to make a wedding book, but these photos of us are probably, I feel the most like myself. And like, these photos represent me and Alex so perfectly. Like, let me just show you guys a couple. Like, first page, how cute is this? Anyway, we loved our engagement session. We loved our wedding photos. And yeah, she's just amazing. But anyway, I DM'd her and I didn't realize that she had already filled that second shooter position. And so I was a little bit embarrassed, but I was trusting that, you know, she needed to know that I looked up to her anyway. So it was probably a God thing that I didn't see that she had filled it and reached out to her anyway. But she just messaged me back and she said that she has so many weddings that I could second shoot for, and they wouldn't be paid, but that I would be able to get experience to build my portfolio. And guys, that is exactly what I've been needing. Exactly what I've been needing. I've just needed somebody to take me under their wing and, you know, allow me to second shoot at the weddings that they have booked already and just build my portfolio so I can book clients of my own. And so I'm just, guys, I'm out of breath. I'm so excited because, like, there's no other explanation for this other than that this is God. This is God's faithfulness over my life. And I know that He's providing for me. And if I continually trust Him, like I've been doing, and continually walking in faith, this video honestly was a step of faith for me today, that I know that He will provide for me. So it almost makes me want to cry again because it's so awesome. And I'm so excited. Yeah, I have a newborn session tomorrow with some of my very best friends, and I have a styled engagement shoot that I am modeling for, my husband and I, and then that couple is going to model for us, and so I'm so excited because that's another portfolio building experience. So I'm just continuing to look for these experiences and opportunities, and I'm so stinking grateful and so motivated and so excited, and that's something that I have never felt before. So as you can tell, I'm very excited that I'm not doing nursing and I'm choosing to pursue this photography business. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm sorry that it's long, but there's a lot that can be shared surrounding this topic in the last, like, pretty much 10 months of my life. So love you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. I love you. God loves you. Peace out.